stream. Gosh, I've said it a couple times, haven't really officially announced it yet, but I'm apprenticing as a tattoo artist. So I've been spending sometimes some long hours in the shop to get my experience in. So hopefully I'll be tattooing in the new year. So I'm really excited about that, and using what I know now and how I draw and how my art communicates to doing permanent artwork on people is like a huge honor. So it's been really exciting, but it's been very busy. My hours are kind of wacky. So I'm in the studio, and it's rare that I can live stream or that it even it just logistically gets difficult. But I have been working in here, and this is another owl. I'm working on this series for the shows coming up this winter. And then I have this fun guy here. Over here, can you see him? He's a big bison on an 8 by 6 foot paper there. And so fun things will happen with him. And so once I start getting the direction of him, I might try to live stream that. But I'm taking baby steps so I don't get overwhelmed, because trying to think of streaming and talking and working on a composition and apprenticing and doing this is like my poor brain. Sometimes I feel like I get a little overwhelmed. So let's get started. Got music streaming in my ears, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm just going to put this in and just start working on this guy. Of course, my nose starts itching immediately. Having like a heat wave right now. California, it's 94 degrees outside right now, which is crazy hot. But then my allergies are going bananas at the same time. Fall allergies are always the worst for me. So it's this weird hot, dry, windy. Oh, it's like the worst for allergies. Hello, MoCat. Welcome back. Oh, thank you. I was just saying how my allergies are so bad right now because we're having like a heat wave and it's so dry. Excuse me, sorry. I feel like I'm gonna just sneeze so much in a second. My eyes are watering. So anyways, it's just really bad allergy season. Ah, hi Ken, how are you? I'm finally back streaming. It's been forever. Hello, Kiki Cat. Oh, thank you. Oh, I feel like everybody, my friends are back. It's so funny because I was like, oh, I'll be able to stream so much while I'm apprenticing, but boy, does like the hours go by, and it's just like it's like been a whirlwind learning something brand new, and then trying to keep my house together, and like but it's gonna good. It's gonna pay off, I think, and I'm super excited to start doing body art on people. Oh, I should show the. Aw, thanks, Kim. I should show, does anybody want to see the grapefruit that I tattooed last week? Oh, God, yeah, like a speed up day. Oh, man, yeah, that would be interesting. So I tattooed a grapefruit last week using a rotary tattoo machine. Let me go grab it. I'm gonna go grab it. I'll be right back. It's in the freezer. I'll be right back. Okay. It's really cold because it was in the freezer. But let's see here. So I tattooed this grapefruit. This frozen grapefruit is so cold. This is, I don't know if you remember this drawing. It was the lion with like, it had a big curl on its head and it was covered with butterflies. So I just kind of freehanded it with the machine because I didn't have that much time before I had to pick up my daughter. But it was really fun. I have a lot to learn. This was all just one needle size. When I start playing around with more, I can do more with the shading. But this was all done with just one needle, and I was experimenting with black and gray washes. So some of this is like, it's like a gray wash. So anyways, this was so cold. That was about, it took about a little over two hours to tattoo it, but the setup and cleanup took about 40 minutes. Because you have to be super careful with, my hands are so cold, the needle. So I'm really enjoying it. It's one thing tattooing a grapefruit smells lovely while you're tattooing it. It'll be another thing doing that on human skin. So I just gotta take a deep breath and keep moving along, but I'm really excited. I'm gonna be ordering my own machine soon, probably at the end of next month. And then I'll be able to kind of practice at home as well on any kind of fruit I can get my hands on. And then probably start working on volunteers in December. So yeah, it's been an adventure. Some days I think I'm crazy, and then some days I'm just like, you gotta do what your heart says you gotta do, and you gotta move forward and kind of push the limits a little bit. I kind of wish I could tattoo on myself, and I guess I could, but the the amount of detail, it would be interesting. But maybe I can one day get good enough to actually do something like that. Well, if somebody could like stretch the skin for me, that would be interesting. That would be an interesting video. I still need a lot more practice before I do that, but because if I tattooed, say I did like my forearm, you'd have to actually like do it upside down. So if like, say I had like a bunny or something here, you know, some people like it to face them, but traditionally it should be like kind of like facing that way. So I would be kind of in essence drawn upside down unless I did it sideways. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's get working on this. I just have so many ideas that run through my head on any given day and any given hour. Like, ideas are not the problem, it's just making them happen and trying to balance a little bit of my life, which, you know, goes through phases. A little shading there in the eyes. Just using a Q-tip right now. It's so cute. My cat now, the silly orange cat, can see me from the window, and so sometimes when I look out, I could see him looking out at me, but I don't see him right now. I just have a little guy in the back. Can you see him? Ozzy, you say hi? Ozzy's sleeping over there. I had to turn the air on today, which is so weird for like the end of October, but it's like mid-90s out right now. kind of want this to look modeled. So you say I didn't rub over the whole thing. I kind of just like went around a little bit. So like some are kind of highlighted and some are grayed out. Just like an easy way to make kind of like a variation in tone. Just kind of like drag it around. Almost dropped it. I pray for snow. Welcome back. The very intense owl. Oh, well, thank you. This one actually was started before I was streamed today. But I don't know how long it's going to be before I get stream again, so I was like, you know what? Let's just stream today. So it was pretty much started. So I'm putting the fun parts on now that really like push it. Bringing out the lights. And the darks. Well, I'm sure that wasn't so bad. Okay, first, oh, shoot, it fogged over, but I was showing them my first, I got it, I took it out of the freezer, but this was my first tattoo. I did it on I had it in the freezer, but this is all with, it's a coil machine with a size 3 round needle. So I'm excited to try the different needles to get different like shades, and then the shader would be great because I could do like a gray scale around, but with limited materials, this was my tattoo. This poor piece of fruit. Oh shoot, I'm all wet now. Let me take my gloves off. Put some new gloves on. Don't want to ruin my owl. Oh, thank you. I didn't stencil, I just kind of drew with the tattoo machine because I knew it was on a piece of fruit. Obviously, if it was on a person, I would have transferred a stencil to make sure everything was exactly where it needed to be, but with fruit, you get to be a little bit more brave. Yeah, it's definitely adds an element to it to work on something rounded, but that's really good because most of the body is like rounded. But there are a lot of like kind of flat pieces too. I think the biggest thing is just translating what I see in my head using different materials. There's a lot of, so when I'm using the machine and the needles, it's like I'm trying to like translate how I would use a pencil and eraser and kind of make that work. But there's a lot that's similar too, because tattooing, you know, there's so many different ways. And obviously I'm not going to be a traditional style tattooist. That's not necessarily what I'm interested in or what my clients would want. But I think the biggest difficulty is just being able to translate what I see in my head to skin. Yeah. No eraser with tattoos is right. That is why I would use a stencil, obviously, on a person. And I'm going to be very conservative before I start working on people. Like, I don't mind putting in 1,000,000 extra hours on fruit until I feel 100% comfortable doing that. I have absolutely no timeline that I have to be doing it by, which is really nice and refreshing. I'm gonna start when I really feel I can represent my clients the best possible. So it's not like something that I'm just gonna jump into, and I'm really gonna take my time and make sure I can have people be happy with what I can do. And then I gotta figure out my tattoo, which I've been working on for like 6 years, and I keep changing my mind. Nice. No winging it. Wing it on the fruit only, not the people. Oh, this is just regular paper. Yeah. This is, let's see, what is this pad? This is just Bristol vellum. So it's got a little bit of tooth to it. Sometimes I work on smooth, but this is a vellum paper. Oh, those are notes I need for project. I put that up here. Just looking for that. Yeah, this is just like a semi-smooth drawing surface. Yes. This is a semi-smooth, so it's called a vellum surface. Well, I mean, it's pretty smooth. Vellum, let's see, and smooth is kind of like, I don't know if I don't have it in reach, but it's totally smooth, so you can like really see all the pencil marks in the super smooth. And it's just a preference. Like I actually go through phases where I just want to draw on the super smooth, and then I kind of really want this with a little bit of tooth, because you can really do, like it sticks, like the tone sticks to the paper a little bit more. You can imagine it has something to hold on to. So sometimes I really want that. So it's totally up to your preference and kind of your desired outcome. And for me, it's like up to my mood, like what kind of drawing I want to do. It's like some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, where's that smooth paper? Like I don't even want to look at this stuff. And some days I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Give me a break from the super smooth. So. Sharpen the pencil lead off. Hi, Robin. Welcome back. realize I need to clean off my desk because just like leaning my elbow here, it doesn't look that dirty, but anything they touch has got like, you can see like stripes on me. All the tattooing's going, oh, let me show you. I think everybody's sick of seeing this, but this is my, let me move my L. I tattooed a grapefruit. It was in the freezer, that's why it's like kind of defrosting. So this is like a freehand line that I did, just having some fun. Just with one needle, one machine. I'm still starting from the ground up, but I'm really liking it. Right now what I'm doing is I go to the shop and, you know, oh shoot, now my hands are wet again. Let me see, I don't want to waste these gloves. There's a paper towel here. So I'm like setting up and cleaning up stations and setting up machines for my mentor and all that right now. And then in my spare time, when no one's tattooing in our station, I tattoo fruit. Well, I will be soon doing more. So I'll post pictures and I'll share them when I live stream so you guys can see the progress. And I was just telling everybody that I can't wait to start ordering my own needles and experimenting with them and see what I can do, kind of like how I can translate the needles into what I want. So there's just so many options. So I'm trying not to think about too much because I get overwhelmed a little bit. So much to learn, but step by step. Oh, there we go. That's the eye. Ah! I guess I got a lot of puns today. That's great. Yeah. Thank you. I love a good pun. The cheesier the joke, usually the more I laugh. I'm gonna try to save my fruit for a while in the freezer so I can compare where I started and then look at the fruit right before I'm ready to work on people and see the difference. Because how you hold the tool is like, oh my gosh, it's so different. It's like, you have to like, well, it's huge, like compared to a pencil, but there's just, like I have to train myself. Oh, hi Blake Bob. Well, I moved into my garage. This is a new space, and been in here a couple months now. And I do have a dog on a dog bed behind me. My big boxer passed a little over gosh, I don't even, it's all a blur. It's been well, maybe a month or two since Rufus passed. So I still got the little guy. It's been a hard time without him. But yeah, this is my new space. Thank you. Yeah, it's fairly open. It's really bright. There's tons of light in here. And it's got heating and air conditioning, which is amazing because today it's like 94 out and I've got the air on, so I'm not sweating to death in here. I couldn't be happier with the space. These little sideways feathers they have on their foreheads a lot. I'm just using the corner of the eraser. This one's getting close to finished. Oh, I don't usually do thumbnails. I just kind of start drawing and then see where it goes from there. If I really don't like it, you know, I'll just dump it and start over. So, yeah. Even on the large ones, I tend to just have an idea and then just start drawing and let it just kind of naturally grow. my big bison that I'm working on over here on this side. I've been thinking about giving him like a octopus head, like a headdress that's all like tentacles and stuff. So it's just sitting in my head right now. I'm just gonna play around. And what I'll probably do is after, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, around 1 when I get off here, I'm gonna go work on that a little bit and maybe put some tone down and then draw it with eraser and then see if I like it. And if I like it, then I'll start like shading it in. But I like to do that first before I make any commitments, as opposed to doing a thumbnail, because I really like to see things in true size if possible. Thanks. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like to kind of, let me see if I zoom out. You can see there's quite a bit of negative space here. You kind of feel the weight. And I like this kind of like brooding guy in the corner. So I'm doing a series of these for some upcoming shows this fall and winter. They all have like really different feelings and expressions. So I've got this guy, he's almost done. I've got this guy up here. Oh shoot, this guy's not done. This is the one I started streaming like 2 weeks ago. You see they're all like slightly different expressions. Like these two are like one blink different, so I wanted to show them kind of all in a row. Maybe we should work on this one for a few minutes. It's less done than the one we were just... Let's work on this guy just for a few minutes. Oh, that's cool. The wrestling a bison. They are so amazing, and they're so fun to draw. Oh my gosh, another pun. They are a real hoot to draw. This guy is more, I feel like the guy's a little bit more intense. This one's kind of like starting to loosen up a little bit. I'm going to open his eyes up just a little bit more by kind of rounding them up. Let's put this. So I just traded out drawings real quick for this guy because he needs a little bit more work on him than the one that I was just working on. All three of those are great horned owls, all three of these that I'm working on now, and then I have a couple that are not great horned owls. I just happen to love drawing great horned owls because they have these awesome horns, feather horns. Thanks, Kim. They all have slightly different expressions, so it's interesting that some probably resonate more than others. Let me zoom in. Oh, I thought I did zoom in. No, I did zoom in. Let's zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Right now, I'm just pushing the lights and darks. I'm gonna lighten these up just a little bit on top. Just like lightly touching these feathers up here. The whole drawing versus painting thing. I think I used to feel it more a while ago than I do now. I think drawing is starting to be recognized a little bit more as finished work. I mean, I think there's always going to be certain people that feel like drawing is just a step to painting. And it is in a lot of cases, but it doesn't have to be. I don't really hear that so much anymore. But when I was in school, especially undergrad, I think I heard that a lot more. But I feel like the art world is so big that I always think it's so weird how people limit it. Like, oh, drawing's not finished art. And I mean, it's such a vast world. There's room for everything. So, and I don't know if it's just now who I interact with or if that's like the general feeling in the art world, but my experience as drawing has gotten a lot more acceptable as finished art, and as far as value, I think there's certain people that are attracted to drawing, and then there's certain people that find themselves more attracted to painting, and I think that's personal preference. Obviously, I've always been fascinated with the drawing part of it. I feel like that's the skeleton of a good painting anyway, and your skeleton's got to be good if your painting's going to be good. So I was always fascinated when I got to see the drawing part of a painting. Oh, interesting. So you started painting and now you prefer to draw. Well, Robin, why did you choose, or why do you prefer to draw now? What is it about drawing that you like more than painting right now? Oh no, you're not grilling me. This is good. I appreciate talking while I'm drawing. Sometimes I still have my drawings described as sketches, even if they're finished drawings and frames. So sometimes they're considered sketches or being called sketches, and I normally just like don't mind that. But then if I have an option, I was like, just write down drawing, that they're drawings. They're not sketches. They're not meant to be past what they are right now. Like this is their finished state. Okay, so yeah, just to get a change. Yeah, it's good. I think every once in a while I feel like painting. It's very rare, but every once in a while I feel like painting too. Like I just need to mix it up a little bit, work with color, work with a different medium, and then, but my heart and my kind of my identity is in drawing. Like that's just kind of how I think. But there's always room to expand. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it definitely feels tactile when you draw. I also like that in paintings, a lot of times you can hide the process. And in drawing, I feel like your process is kind of all laid out there to see. It's kind of something that I really enjoy. So it like leaves these marks behind that you can work with, but they still exist on the paper, and that's just how it is. Now I'm just adding kind of those darker contrast feathers that I worked on the other little guy on with. There's no particularly right or wrong way to do this. I'm just kind of like modeling the feathers. When I'm blending, I'm not blending all the way over. I'm going around so that it leaves some of those lighter feather highlights. So I'm using kind of the layer that was already there, and I let some of that peek through to build up kind of that three-dimensionality in there. Yes, that is a big thing about drawing so big. You know, I really hold on to not framing my large pieces until they're sold, because any of these pieces in here, they don't fit in my house if they're framed. So yes, working large is a pain to display them. It costs an arm and a leg to frame these things too, and to get good UV glass. Oh my gosh. Working big is fun. I can't believe I just had this off the camera the whole time. Sorry. The nice thing about working large is you can really let go and just loosen everything up, because you kind of have to. So it's a great lesson in if you really want to try to loosen yourself up, throw a big piece of paper on the wall and then start drawing, because it like and tactile and physical, and it like forces you to get out of this little like, you know, rendering box that we put ourselves in, and it forces you to kind of like reconsider all of that perspective. And if you're feeling lost or you're feeling kind of restricted, that's also a great way of breaking out of that. And then you'll be so glad to come back down to something little that you can complete. That's why I like to do them both at the same time. Yes, I've done quite a few murals. Let's see, the closest one to where I live is in City of Carlsbad in their library. And I have a couple in museum collections, but they're all murals on paper. So they're on the walls just framed. Yes, they make rolls. Let me see. I have one out right now. I have a roll, let me. So here's kind of a tube of paper here that I work on. This is a 6 foot tall by, let's see, I forget how long it is, but I want to say like 50 feet. And the brand that I use, that's Aquabee. It's kind of what I'm using on my new bison over there. That's an 8 by 6 foot slice of that paper roll that I just showed you. So you can buy it in rolls and then just kind of cut it down to size, which is really helpful. I've tried other brands. Fabriano I tried, and I don't know if you go on my Instagram, there's a lion piece that with an upside down and right side up lion that rotates. That's done on a Fabriano roll. That's a 5 foot roll. So it's 5 feet by, I don't know, 20 or 30 feet. But I got that off Amazon, and it's an archival paper, so it's good. It felt a little bit different drawing on, but it was good, and it held up just fine, and it was exhibited, and it'll go up again, and it was in good condition after being exhibited for a month, so that was a good paper to try too. That's a lot of owls. Although I guess it depends how big I make the owls, but it would probably be a lot. That would be fun to do, like a whole wallpaper of owls. Oh my gosh. Maybe I'll do that. Let's see. I think I gotta get going. What time is it? Oh goodness, it's 1:16. Okay, I better get going. But thank you everybody for joining. It's so nice to have somebody to talk to, and you guys all joined after me not coming on for feels like forever. So I don't know the next time I'll be able to get on here, but thank you everybody. And if you have any questions, just feel free to message me, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks everybody.